Good morning, Americans. This is your favorite alien in Bubba here on the morning of Sunday, May 23rd, 2021. Stand by for commentary. Well, this commentary is on civilizations. Mine and yours. Yours is scheduled to doom. Mine will survive yours by a long time. Is mine better? In some ways, yes. In other ways, no. Will mine outlast yours? Oh, you betcha. Yours is on the way out. And we had the same problems that you do. My ancestral planet had 4 continents with 22 nation states. You got over 200 here. Whew, that's a lot, huh? And we had 3, what you would call powerful nation states. One, a totalitarian state. Another one, a democratic state. And a third one, what you would call here racist. But remember, there's no race because we only had one race. You guys only have one race, but you would call it racist. Let me start with the democratic state. It got so partitioned, I would use that word, with so many factions that they wanted to do things their way, and they didn't have a way for the people to do them. And they had pigmentation issues, as you do here. They had factions, which means like the Republicans, Democrats, rightists, leftists, pro this, pro that, anti this, anti that, he, she's, she, he's, and what's it's, and everything involved in there. And whoever became in power wanted to do his way. There was no such thing as a prime directive. So after 4 of your centuries, this nation state had it. And I'll get to that in a second. The other 2 nation states, the totalitarian one, was like China. It went through its resources in a hurry, and it found out that its economy could not sustain itself, and therefore had to go to drastic measures. The third state, the racist state. Now, this state had the pigmentations, and they had all 18 in there. Somehow or another, it was like the illegal alien problems that you had here in the United States. And the way it determined to solve its pigmentation issue problem, and the she, he's, and the what's it's, and the gender issues, and the, preference, sexual orientation or whatever preference you are, issue. It took all those people, arrested them, and they had an area in their territory where they were put out there, and people were like the people here with Mr. Aubrey in Georgia, got in their vehicles, and it was fair game. Oh, he was accused of this already, so hey, we got a right to shoot him. Yeah, and that's what they did. Hunting, it was like the Hunger Games, as you call them here. Yeah, well, it brings back old memories when I see those kind of movies here. Yeah, and then century after century after century, they did that. By the time the 25 of our people got together and spent the next 75 years getting things ready to go, got a spaceship ready, it took them into another star system 1,000 light years away. And by the time they said goodbye, 75 years later, within the next 75 years, boom. Because the 3 nation states, a democratic state, was so disastrous as the United States is now under Joe Biden, and they had nuclear weapons. The totalitarian state like China had eaten up all the resources, and it was trying to get resources from the other continents. Well, after it took all the nation states that were in its continent and got it under control, but it took all their resources and they were gone. So it had no choice. It went out to the solar system, but if it didn't work together with anybody else, you couldn't do much. And this is what China and the United States got to realize. So you got to Mars, each one of you did, but what are you going to do? You're going to have to get a new home eventually here if you keep on doing what you're doing to this planet. Okay? We knew that. That's what 25 people in my ancestral planet over 1,300 of your years ago got together and did this. And like I said, over a millennia ago, boom, 14 billion dead because of this. The other racist, they just hate, and hate became part of their their daily thing. I mean, you had coffee, and then you had hate, and you had lunch, and you had hate, then you had dinner, and you had hate, and then you had to have something after dinner. So you had like the equivalent of the Roman Colosseum, where you had people going into these theaters, and you had this area, like I said, the hunting, and you had, and today, here we are, live and in color. Yes. Is that what you want for your planet? Really? We outpassed that. We got rid of all the stuff that gave us those problems. Do we still have dissension? Oh yes, 2%. Is our civilization better today than it was then? Yes. Is it the same as it was then? No, it's changed a little bit. We got about 80% of the civilization that we started with back 1,100 years ago. And it took us 3 centuries to get our differences in order, because we made sure that it didn't go from father to son and from daughter to mother to daughter, on the hate and the disagreements and your ancestral's way of thinking. We still have them in videos, so we can show our descendants this is the way it used to be, and this is why it's not that way no more. And they ask a lot of questions, and we have to answer them. Some of them are not going to be good, some of them are not going to be bad. But they have to take the medicine. Question is, humans and Americans, especially the United States, are you willing to take the medicine? Because you can't have Joe Biden come in here and say, my way is the way to do, and Trump, my way is the way to do, and all you're doing is destroying each other's work. You don't have a foundation here. You have to form a United States with a foundation. What is the United States foundation? Nobody knows. Biden's doing things because he thinks it works. The Republicans are resisting because, oh, well, Trump did it this way and it worked for us. Really? Did it work under Trump? Offhand, really? Those 4 years were terrible. The 8 years under Obama were a disaster. Ever since I've been here in 1970, you guys have been going on a downhill slide. Because you got factions that now control, and pigmentation issues. And you have elected to have artificial entities control your government, as in businesses. We had businesses, but they weren't artificial. They didn't have life. We needed people to do things, and they did them. Not for money, what the business is doing, but for helping the society, which you guys don't even know what a society is. So where are your 25 people here on planet Earth that's going to get together and say, we've had enough of this. We're heading down a slope that's slippery and very steep. And if we slip, there's no way we're going to get back up. Where are you? To form a new government. Is it going to be perfect? No. A new society. Is it going to be perfect? No. Did we make mistakes after we left our home planet and got on our adopted planet? Oh, yes. One of them was the Mushka. The people that are going to destroy you in 2065 on July 22nd. We thought that we could reason with them because we had reptilians in our neck of the woods that are not part of our federation. But these reptilians were native to planet Earth. And I think you guys have the uh, you guys got the big jackpot on hate because for some reason those guys hate, and that's all they have. Think of the Nazis on steroids, and you get the Mushka. They are very hateful of humanoids, especially the people from here, because they were from here. And they made it in no uncertain terms, and we thought that we didn't want a total war with them. Because we've seen what happened to our ancestral planet. Boom. That first war, we took a beating. We lost 200 million people. 200 million to them. And they had the upper hand on technology. If it wasn't for the aquatics, if it wasn't for the reptilians and the arboreals that are now part of our federation, we would have been goners. We only had 800,000 people at the time of that first war. And we lost 200 million. That includes us, the reptilians, the aquatics, and the arboreals. Later on, the insectoids. That's 200 million beings that lost their lives because of people that don't want to be part of the system, don't want to be part of the universe. It's their way or the highway, just like you guys here in America under Joe Biden and under Mr. Trump think. And the Chinese and the Russians and a lot of other countries. It's the highway, my way or the highway. And usually it's the highway for you. So after we finished that war, it took us a couple hundred years to recover from that war. And we learned to live with the people that saved us. And we learned that they had, even though they're not humans, things in common with us. They were intelligent. They were, in their own way, builders. And they wanted to live in harmony. Something that you guys don't understand. So we formed a federation of 12. About 100 years after that first war. And 150 years later, the Mushka came calling again. This time, our technology was superior to theirs. And we had better armaments, better ships, better trained humanoids, aquatics, and insectoids came in to that war. That's where we met them. And they figured out that our side was the better side. And this is what I'm telling you. You need friends, and sometimes friends come from places you don't comprehend where they're coming from. Now we're a society of 78 planets. Differences, different species, but the same goals. Make our civilizations last longer and live in harmony, but watch out for reckless civilizations like yours and the Mushka. This is your private alien and Bubba. When is it going to dawn on your head that you got to change where you're going or you're going to end up in disaster? Good day.